So, Season 3 of Chit Chats has officially wrapped as of 1 week ago. And I kind of wanted to use this video as a means of talking about, what does that mean? What does that mean for Chit Chats? What does that mean for this channel? What am I going to be doing going forward with this channel? So that's what this video is going to be. And I wanted to kind of talk about a good amount of stuff in this video. I don't want this video to be too long, but I do have some topics that I wanted to touch upon. But for any of you that just kind of wanted a short answer to that question, you saw the thumbnail and title, and it's a little clickbaity, so you just kind of want like a short answer. I'm going to give that to you right now. Basically, this channel is not going to be getting any new content for a while, but it will not go completely dormant. And that's the short answer. If you want more of a elaboration on what that means, I'll be talking about that in this video. But if that's kind of just, if you didn't want to hear me ramble for however long, hopefully no longer than 10 minutes, there you go. For those of you who do want to hear me ramble about 10 minutes, all 2 people out there, we're gonna talk a little bit more about what I mean by all of that. So really quickly, I just want to basically say why I want to talk about why Chit Chats exists. And so some of you might already know where Chit Chats came from, but for those of you who don't, I'm going to use this video as a little bit of a just a recap of like how it came to be. Basically, in 2016, I was making a lot of videos on my main channel, Tonyverse, and that was like my main priority that year. But towards the end of the year, I decided I wanted to make a second channel because I saw a lot of YouTubers that had second channels where they could kind of upload more like casual stuff that was a little bit less pressure went into the production of those videos. And I kind of just decided I wanted to have a channel that that was similar because I had a lot of less involved ideas for videos that I wanted to do. And so that's where this channel came from. For those of you who don't know, this channel used to be Tonyversal Productions. And my main channel obviously is Tonyverse, and this channel, Tonyversal Productions. It got a little confusing. Some people were calling my main channel Tonyverse Soul, and then some people were calling my second channel Tonyverse Productions. I don't know. It was kind of weird. I don't know why I went with that naming scheme, but I did. I started uploading these less elaborate videos to this channel, and I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. And then a little bit into me having this new channel, one of my friends suggested that we start doing a podcast. And I didn't even really know what a podcast was at the time. I don't think I had ever listened to one or seen one. It was a weird new concept to me at the time. And I was a little bit reluctant to do it initially. But as we started doing them more and more, I got more invested in the idea and I felt more of a drive to make them. So we started doing what I called at the time the Tonyverse podcast. Very clever with names, obviously. And it became like a monthly thing that we would do, and it was a different vibe from filming videos that were scripted and had a bunch of planning. It was very much just a more casual thing that we were able to do. And I think that's what made it fun, was that there was just less work put into them. Because it really amounted to all the work that went into them was just coming up with topics to talk about. But other than that, it was really just kind of me and my friends just sitting in a room for an hour talking about whatever. And I really liked that. I found a lot of value in doing that I didn't expect that I would at the time. Because to me, all I had known until that point was making these really short, snappily edited videos. And so when I heard of the idea of making these long form unedited videos, I was like, what? That sounds stupid. Why would we do that? And then it ended up being really fun, and then I kept doing it. And so, yeah, we did 13 episodes of that series. I remember we took a little bit of a hiatus, but then I brought it back like a year after. And then eventually it did stop again. And then I think the reason why I stopped doing it was it just kind of became more like I just had less fun doing it. And it's not that I had less fun in the sense that like I still had a lot of fun just getting together with my friends and filming. Like that never stopped being fun. But I think I just had like less inclination to film those videos over time. Like I was just like, I'm just not really into it. But I knew I wanted to just like, I knew eventually I wanted to keep doing it in some way, maybe in a way that I could be more consistent with it. Because it really, it didn't even become like a monthly thing. At one point, it just became like whenever we decided to do one, I would do one. But, and I'm really big into consistency when it comes to videos. Like, it may not seem like it, but I really like keeping a consistent schedule with videos. With at least videos on this channel, you can tell I was very consistent about it for a while. So like I said, I wanted to bring the Tonyverse podcast back in some capacity. Just I didn't know when or how I was going to do it. And then 2020 hit, and it became increasingly hard to film any videos with my friends at all. And so we didn't for basically that entire year. I didn't really film any videos with my friends. And that really sucked because I don't think I realized how much fun I was having doing that until I wasn't able to do it anymore. But towards the end of the year, in 2020, after taking a little bit of a break from making videos, I got back into it. And I started coming up with this idea of doing another podcast-like series, but one that was not necessarily in person, because all of the Tonyverse podcast episodes were in person. But I wanted to make a new podcast series that was a little bit easier to record with people and that was a little bit more accessible, because it's not always easy to convince people to like get together at a specific place at a certain time to film a podcast. It's a little bit harder to do that, but when you can do them virtually, it's not as much work because they can just do it from the comfort of their own home. There's not as much commitment that goes into those. So going into 2021, I conceptualized a new podcast series that I called Chit Chats, and that is the show that I started uploading to this channel. And looking at how long I've been recording, I'm definitely going to be going longer than 10 minutes. I apologize for that. So I made this new show. I called it Chit Chats. And I know I've said this before in a video, but the reason why the whole show is called Chit Chats, it's actually funny because I wanted to make each episode short. And when I say short, I mean like 10 to 15 minutes in length. Like that was what I was going for initially, like when I started doing Chit Chats. And as soon as the second episode, that just became not what we ended up doing. I didn't want to set like a hard time limit on them because, I don't like, forcing conversation to stop, because especially when you're getting into like a good flow of conversation and you have a lot of like, interesting topics that you're talking about, I don't always like having to cut them off for the sake of like, oh, we can't go longer than 15 minutes, and so just, naturally over the course of doing the first couple episodes, we started doing longer episodes like that were 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and I was okay with that. I was like, you know what? They're still shorter than the average podcast, because the average podcast, at least at the time, would go for like an hour, and we weren't going over an hour at the time. That's what Chit Chats was in the beginning, and I was pretty happy with it. And I think because it was a show that we were able to do virtually, it was a lot easier to keep a schedule of doing them. And that's evident by the fact that I was able to do them every week throughout like the entirety of 2021 and 2022. The first 2 seasons of Chit Chats were always like were a weekly series, and I'm really proud of that aspect of them. But you know, as time went on, oh, and I'll also mention the fact that during the whole time that I was making these Chit Chats episodes, I was also producing, like actively producing videos for my main channel, and I was also keeping pretty much a weekly schedule with those videos as well. So, you know, while it might not seem like Chit Chats was as much work as it was still a little bit of work in the fact that I had to like schedule them and plan them out, like what we were going to do and everything, what we were going to talk about. But you know, at least for like the first season of Chit Chats and a little bit of the second season, there wasn't that much more work that went into them, which is why I was able to keep it up for so long, weekly. But going into the latter half of season 2, let me go like the latter half of season 2, I wanted to start doing more elaborate episodes. And we had kind of dipped our toes into doing elaborate episodes in season 1 and season 2. You know, we did like the debate night episodes, we did the drawing blank from memory episodes. We did episodes where we played games or where we did quizzes and stuff like that. But going into the latter half, I had a bunch of ideas to do little quiz shows or like game show type episodes where I would make a quiz for like, you know, a select number of my friends to participate in. And then they would all, you know, just like try to see who could do the best. And those episodes, like the latter half of season 2 has some of my favorite episodes that we've ever done in like the history of Chit Chats. So evidently it was a good idea to take the show in that direction. But you know, because I was doing that, making Chit Chats became a more involved process. There was more work that was put into each Chit Chats episode, or at least the majority of them. Maybe it was more like half and half. I don't know. Either way, a select number of Chit Chats episodes had a good amount of work put into them. Just pretty much by me, but also like by guests sometimes. Like I would sometimes ask guests to come up with stories to tell, or you know, topics of debate when we did the debate night episodes, you know, stuff like that. So obviously there was more work put into them. And throughout 2022, I was making, you know, main channel videos alongside these Chit Chats episodes. And towards the end of the year, I decided I can't do both. I have to either stop doing Chit Chats or halt production on weekly Tonyverse videos. And so I chose, obviously, the latter. I stopped doing weekly videos on Tonyverse. But I kept up Chit Chats. And going into 2023, I was still planning on doing a whole 50-episode season of Chit Chats, season 3. And that was what 2023 was looking to have, was 50 episodes, just like season 1 and season 2 had. And so I planned that out, but I also had a little bit of a plan with Chit Chats for season 3 that I didn't really talk about because it was kind of like a goal that I just kind of had for myself that I didn't really feel was necessary to like bring up. And that goal was that I wanted each sequential episode of Chit Chats to have different guests from the previous. And if you go back in season 3, you'll see that I accomplished that. No 2 like episodes in a row had like the same guest in them. Like there was never a case where I had like Brennan in an episode and then in the next episode Brennan and Donovan. Like it was either you had Brennan and then in the next episode had Donovan, and you never had the same guest in 2 sequential episodes. And that was just like, I just wanted to do that for the sake of having more variety in like who I was having on the show and how often I was having them on the show. And so that was just like a soft goal that I had for myself. But it ended up becoming a hard goal because I forced myself to never have the same guest in 2 sequential episodes. And I am proud of that aspect of season 3 because it did create for more variety in the episodes we were doing. But it was also a lot more work to plan and schedule. And, you know, I was still putting a lot of time into, like, what we were doing in certain episodes. Like, I was still making the quizzes. And, you know, I was trying to maintain a weekly schedule all throughout that time. I wasn't doing main channel videos weekly, but I was still producing a very elaborate video at the time during like early 2023. And so by the time that summer hit, I felt just like completely burnt out. I was like, I wasn't having as much fun making Chit Chats as I had been in the past during like season 1 and season 2 of Chit Chats. So I basically came to the conclusion that I needed to take a little bit of a break. And the plan originally was that I was just going to take a break after season 3 was done. And so, I was just like, okay, I'm going to try to just finish out this year. I already had like the majority of season 3 done. I was like, let me just finish up the rest of the season and then I'll take a little bit of a break. And then unfortunately, that is not what ended up happening. I ended up taking a break from Chit Chats at, I think, episode 138 is when we stopped doing weekly episodes. And, I had like an idea like, oh, maybe I'll just like upload them sporadically. But I don't know. I just didn't end up doing that. I was like, okay, I guess I'll take a break at 138. And I didn't know when I was going to come back, but I knew that I didn't want to like completely halt production on Chit Chats until we finished season 3. So, to you guys, I took a break from the time that I uploaded 138 and 139, but all throughout that time that I wasn't uploading to this channel, I was actively like producing and planning out, the Chit Chats episodes that I ended up doing, during these last like couple months. And that was hard because I was working at the time, I was doing school at the time, I still wanted to like have time to hang out with my friends, and I started making these more elaborate main channel videos. So all throughout this last like year, essentially, a lot of work was going into just all aspects of my video production. And so my point of saying that is I never really took a break. I wasn't uploading. So it was a little weird, but, eventually, obviously, these last couple months, we finished off season 3, and I'm really happy with how season 3 turned out. There's some great episodes in there. And overall, I'm just really happy that I got to have, like, a bunch more, like, new guests that I had never had on the show before. And, like more different types of episodes. Like we did more, we did like the Who Knows Blank Best series. We did the 2 Truths, 1 Lie video game series, whatever you want to call them. I did more like one-on-one interviews with people in season 3, and I'm really happy with a lot of those. And all throughout that, we still did, like the debate night episodes, and then we did the tier list episodes, and we did the quizzes. There was so much variety in season 3 that I'm really happy about. But now we're here at the end of season 3, and I've basically decided that I need to take another break. And it's kind of weird to say that because, I did take a break in some capacity. I wasn't actively uploading any, even though I was working on them in the time that I wasn't uploading. So I don't know, you can call that a break, you can call that not a break, I don't know. But I also have a lot of ideas for episodes that I want to do that we still haven't done yet. And I've had these ideas for like years at this point, some of them. And some of them I feel really inspired to make and really motivated to make. But I'm kind of just deciding that I'm going to be taking a break from doing Chit Chats because I want to put more time into other aspects of my life. I want to have more time to spend with my friends. I want to have more time that's not recording because, recording is fun, but it is still, it does in some ways detract from the experience of hanging out. But, further than that, like, I want to put more time into my main channel, which I'm really passionate about the videos that I'm making on my main channel right now. And I'm really happy with how those are turning out. So I want to put more time into that. I want to have more time to, like, spend time with my family or spend time, kind of just do stuff that I was neglecting doing in the time that I've been doing these weekly episodes of Chit Chats. So that's basically why I'm taking another break, or taking a break. You can either call it my first break or second break. I don't know whatever you want to say. I'm taking a break from doing Chit Chats. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I know that I'm going to be taking another break. It might be a month, it might be a couple months, it might be a year. I don't know. It's just going to be, whenever I feel like I want to start doing Chit Chats again, I'll start doing it. I don't want to end the series completely, but it's going to be going on a little bit of a hiatus again. But in all aspects, production aspect, scheduling aspect, like all those aspects, I'm going to be taking a break from it. But this channel is not going to be completely dormant in that time, because I have stockpiled a lot of compilations of existing Chit Chats episodes that I'm going to begin uploading to this channel starting a week from now. And I intend on uploading these every other week for like the next year or so. I don't necessarily know how long I'll be doing it, but I have a lot stockpiled. So I intend on doing that just because I just think it might be kind of fun to have compilations of certain themed episodes up on the channel for anybody that wants to watch them. So going forward, that's what I'm mainly going to be focusing on uploading to this channel. However, like I said, if I do want to bring back Chit Chats at any point, like I feel like I can manage the scheduling or the planning, maybe I'll start doing them again. But I do kind of want to force myself to take a little bit of a break. But I also have ideas for other shows that could potentially go up on this channel. And maybe I kind of want to spend some time developing those, potentially. Shows that aren't necessarily done virtually. Maybe they will be in person, and maybe they'll be a little bit more focused and about certain other topics that we don't always talk about on Chit Chats as much. I don't know. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now. So, like I said at the very beginning, this channel is not going dormant. There will be content on this channel. And obviously all the existing episodes of Chit Chats, if you want to go back and watch any that you didn't see, or maybe you're a new viewer and you haven't seen a single episode, you can go back and watch 150 episodes to see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video. So, one more thing. I'm going to be rebranding this channel. And so I've already done this in the past. It used to be Tonyversal Productions, and then I rebranded it to be Chit Chats. I'm going to be rebranding it to, brace yourself, Tonyverse Podcasts. I know. How did I come up with the idea for that one? The main reason why I'm doing that is because, like I said, there might be shows on this channel at some point that are not Chit Chats. So I figured what better thing to do than to make this a more broad channel, and then it also fits with like the branding of my other channels because it's kind of an outlier in that regard. I have Tonyverse Extras, Tonyverse Bits, Chit Chats, and then Tonyverse Lore, and so it's just a little weird that I have, like, it just makes more sense to make them all like the same branding or similar branding. You know what I mean? At least that's how I think about it. So that's the last thing. That's the last thing that I want to say is that within the next, I don't necessarily know, maybe it'll be a week, maybe it'll be a month, I'm going to be rebranding this channel. I don't know. I'm not going to pressure myself to do it at a certain point. Whenever I have the time, I'm going to be doing that. But yeah, that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. Let's see, we hit 24 minutes. Okay. That's not too bad. Maybe some people will want to watch for that long. I don't know. But for those of you that did, thank you for watching, and thank you to anybody who's, watched any videos from this channel, subscribed to this channel, whatever it is, whatever the reason you might be watching this right now. Thank you. And I will see you guys next time in whatever it is that I see you guys. So, peace.